Last season, Raphinha was one of Barcelona's pivotal players in their success. Now he's again been one of their more crucial players, but on the other hand, fans often didn't see him as Barcelona's very best player, and preferred Dembélé to him last season, and now some even prefer Lamine Yamal. So have we actually ever seen the very best of Raphinha yet at Barcelona? And how can he reach his actual true potential for the Blaugrana? Well, that's what we're going to discuss in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. So, usually Raphinha is Barcelona's right winger, and this is definitely a role that suits him well. He's disciplined enough to stick to that side to keep the pitch wide, and he's definitely one of Barcelona's main attacking weapons when he plays there. Very often his crosses have resulted in goals, and he's also got that intuition to get inside to look for a shot. He's a great right winger, and you wouldn't think that he's playing out of position in some way if you see him play there. But for him to be at his very best, there might be a better role. At right wing, last season, as well as in his first games of this season, he's actually played in the role that suited someone like Ousmane Dembélé the best. He was a winger who was above all pacey, loved dribbling, and was at his best when he could start his action from that wing. That type of winger is what Xavi's system needs at that right side as well. As there is no right back who will keep the pitch wide in attack, like Alejandro Balde does at the left, there needs to be a winger who does so. You want to keep the pitch as wide as possible, of course, to have as much space as possible to play in, and the more space, the more you can create, the more goals you will score. So a winger like Ousmane Dembélé is perfect for that. And Raphinha can do it perfectly as well, but if you look at him, you see that he's very good at playmaking in general as well. His vision is great, his link play, creativity, it's all very good. So is he really at his best when sticking to the outer right side? Definitely, considering that he's often alone up there. There's no overlapping fullback to create numerical superiority when he cuts inside. So that right wing position, it suits him well, but it might not be his very best position. What Xavi has done in the last few games, and what he will maybe keep on doing when Raphinha is back from injury, is to play him as a central midfielder. Now, of course, not the typical central midfielder, but as a 10. If you have two interiors, one would be a classic interior dictating the pace of the game, and the other one someone like Raphinha who roams in between the middle and the right and is crucial for creating chances. He's got a lot of vision, creativity, his shooting is great, his link play is great too. These are all qualities that Barcelona would benefit from more if Raphinha played in that creative 10 role. We've seen him play there in these last few games, and he was more involved and pivotal in Barcelona's ball circulation than ever before, and definitely didn't look to be playing out of position. The big question is, what do you do with that right wing spot then? Well, you do still need to have a real right winger to stick to that side to keep the pitch wide. Because again, Cancelo isn't the type of fullback who's going to do that for you. And who can be that player? Well, Lamine Yamal. When he can play, because we know that he isn't going to play every game at his age, and that we don't want to rush him into professional football to prevent him from getting overloaded like the likes of Ansu Fati and Pedri. Ferran Torres could perfectly play there too though. It's even his best position, and he's actually better at sticking to that side than Raphinha. He's more of a natural winger than Raphinha. For him, there's no better position than that right wing position. So this way, you maximize the potential of both Ferran Torres and Raphinha. And Raphinha would still have a lot of freedom to roam. At moments, he could definitely drop out to the right to create numerical superiority together with Ferran Torres. Something that Barcelona lacked on their right side last season. But if you do that, don't you leave your midfield too open then with only two real midfielders? Well, you would actually still have three midfielders, because João Cancelo can easily shift into midfield to be somewhat of a second pivot, and that way he would fill up that gap when Raphinha would drop out to the right. The best way for Barcelona to play with Raphinha might be to play him as a creative interior, and it would work perfectly together with players like Ferran Torres and Lamine Yamal, who are even more comfortable at right wing than Raphinha himself, and a fullback like João Cancelo who can slot into that midfield as well. This is probably the ideal scenario for Raphinha, but I do still think that in most of his games he will play as a right winger, which isn't too big of a problem, he can still perform there very well too. But why will Xavi often still play him there? Well, just take a look at the Barcelona squad. When Xavi played Raphinha in midfield in these last few games, it was in the absence of both Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. That creative interior role, it might suit Raphinha very well, but if Pedri is back, he might get even more potential out of that role. Creativity, vision and playmaking wise, he's probably a little better than Raphinha. And he's got better positional awareness and awareness of the full picture of every game in general than Raphinha has. And those are things that you do want midfield players to have. So eventually, Raphinha's main use will still be as a right winger. But if Xavi rotates or if something isn't working, he does have a secret weapon in playing Raphinha in the interior role, because it does perfectly suit him. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion in the comments down below. Força Barça, Força Raphinha, and have a good day.